redefining reality. Well, the real story is that I have to refer to notes today, but the actual truth, I am scared to be on this red dot. Because what I'm going to talk about today is something that can and will happen to a lot of us, including those of you sitting in the darkness and hopefully not to be in the dark for too much. Because today I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence, hallucinations, dreams, and destiny. Let's begin with a textbook introduction of artificial intelligence. So what is it, in case you don't know? Artificial intelligence, as you can see here, is a collection of systems that understand, reason, learn, and interact. Let's keep it at that. How many of you in the audience have used some form of artificial intelligence? May I have some reactions, please? Some of it. Thankfully, you're using your natural intelligence now to answer this question. But can any of you tell me what, as per you, is the most used example of artificial intelligence? A little louder? ChatGPT. Oh, that's something I'd love to chat about all the time. So you see, ChatGPT and many other similar systems do what we do by continuously processing data and looking at the reactions of people to it. Now let's see how we have been using ChatGPT a lot of times. I have a few things I have been up to, sorry, not too proud about it, using AI. Of course, using maybe not ChatGPT, but some kind of generative AI. So let's see what I have been up to. That's me supposedly in 1910, 1920 and 1930. I'm not saying that's me, but that's some kind of generative AI. Well, what about the next? 1940, 1950, 1960, some more pictures to think about. Then of course you have 70, 80, 90, but it's not over yet, I'm quite old it seems. 2000, 2010 and 2020. How do you think this happened? Well, obviously I was not born, or I have not lived in 1920, and I don't think I can afford that kind of clothes that well, or that hairstyle for that matter. So how do you think that worked? Well, that worked through generative AI, wherein it used my pictures, the last three pictures that you see, and it used certain kind of AI technologies to determine how I might have looked at a different era. Redefining reality? Well, who doesn't love that? How many of you here have Ghibli-fied your images? Yeah. Guilty as charged. Well, not me, not yet. However, is that something we should be worried about? Redefining reality, reimagining how things work out to be, looking at the way things might change and seeing if we can take it forward? Well, I'm going to now talk about something that connects the two, facial recognition. What you're going to see is not something very happy. In January, Robert Williams became the first person to be wrongfully accused of a crime he did not commit. He was not the last. We also had Portia Woodruff, who was 8 months pregnant, who in Detroit was accused of a crime that was impossible, car lifting. You know why that happened? Well, mug shots were used, facial recognition was used, and the two were matched. Racial discrimination, anyone? Maybe, maybe not. How does it impact you and me? Does it? Is it something that happens here in our country? Well, maybe not yet. But what about the future? In a future where reality is being redefined so many times and in so many different ways, can we really be sure that this will not happen to all of us? Oh well, who cares about things that might not bother us? But let me ask you this question. How many of you have seen Avatar or Avengers Endgame? Yes? Yes. So what kind of money did these two movies make? They are supposed to be the two biggest blockbusters, and each made nearly $3 billion at the global box office. All right? They needed a lot of special effects, you would all agree, and they in a way redefined reality. Well, I'm guessing you can't click your fingers and kill people. But that having been said, are we sure that they did things the right way? Well, there is a little something that I'm hoping some of you haven't felt, no mushrooms here, and that's hallucination. Does anyone know what is hallucination in artificial intelligence? Well, hallucination in the context of AI is something we should be careful about, because it refers to a situation where an AI system generates incorrect, misleading, or nonsensical information as output, often appearing plausible or coherent, but lacking factual basis. It's not you hallucinating about something. This is AI giving you inputs that might not work. And you will understand why I mentioned about those two films in a moment. There could be insufficient training data or flawed reasoning, but hallucination in artificial intelligence, exists, and it is a reality. But can hallucination lead to an end game? Well, on 9 February 2023, after Microsoft unveiled the new Bing, a search engine, Google posted an ad on its Twitter handle promoting Bard, now known as Gemini, its newly launched AI chatbot. And soon after, a report emerged pointing to a factual error made by Bard, leading to Alphabet's shares tanking by more than 9% during regular trading, wiping off $100 billion in a single day. That's almost 20 times the total collection of those two movies. You see, hallucinations, which are in a way AI redefining reality, it can really lead to an end game, and it can really change the way you feel about people, the way you think, and the way you're basing your decisions on what you perceive to be real. So what do we do about it? Should we stop redefining reality? Should we stop relying on artificial intelligence? Should we stop trying to make a difference to our lives? Well, before you think of answering those questions, I'm going to tell you about something all of you have done, whether you did it willingly or not, in your life, which in a way is something we do to redefine reality. I'm talking of dreams. Now, the interpretation of dreams has been a subject of intense scrutiny for several centuries, if not millennia, but none were as profound as the one offered by the great philosopher Sigmund Freud. It is he who first said, and I quote, that dreams are nothing but the physical manifestation of the subconscious conflict between ego and superego. In other words, to make psychology understandable, where there is a dream, there is a way. And some of you may be able to redefine the reality of your lives by paying attention to what you dream. Because when you have a recurrent dream, not the ones you see with your eyes closed, but those that do not make it easy for you to sleep at night, it must be there for a reason. A long time back, I had what I thought was an impossible dream. I thought and I wanted to be like Aladdin. Yeah, that character in that animation film. not the new one, but the original one by Disney. And there is a different talk on that. But I saw the movie and I was so inspired by those illustrations and those animations. I know it's not Studio Ghibli, it's Disney, but you know, that's all we had at that time. And I loved it and I fell in love with that film and with the character, and I felt that maybe someday I too can be like Aladdin and find out a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view, no one to tell us no or where to go. Now I have a whole new world for you. And I felt that I could get into this whole new world and reimagine reality. And then I did something that was being done in the same state whose examples I took today. The examples I'm talking about were from Detroit. The examples I gave you about facial recognition, which is in the United States state of Michigan. Now, in Michigan State University, there was a study conducted in 2017 that said that if you really want to remove conflicts in your life, you should try creative writing. Creative writing can help you resolve conflicts, and as little as 8 minutes of creative writing every day can make your life simpler. I was obviously not aware of any of that. I just had an affinity towards writing and creating stories and creating characters and redefining reality in my mind. Did it work? Did it not work? And why am I telling you this story? Well, I'm telling you this story to give you an example of the power of dreams. If I can move to the next one. And I'm telling you this story because I want you to take your creative intelligence to the next level. Because we all have creative intelligence. A lot of times LinkedIn has talked about creativity as one of the most important things. Last year, as per LinkedIn Learning, communication was number one in terms of skills to have, and adaptability was the top skill of the moment. Communication, adaptability, creative thinking, all of it is paramount for anyone who wants to redefine reality. So what I did is, obviously, I did not take up literature, typical Indian student, so I took up engineering, as you would have got from my introduction, and I went into engineering, and yeah, I kind of liked it, did not like certain stuff. But when I got an opportunity, I decided to try my hand at writing. I still remember writing my first short story in the year 2015. And slowly, because I did it regularly, things started changing around me. I made it to the Limca Book of Records under literature, and that was June 2016. During 70 years of India-UK cultural exchange, I was invited by the British Council, and my work was showcased to King Charles, Queen Camilla, and a host of other celebrities. And those panels that you see, they are my writing, which has been converted into illustrations by the multiple Oscar-winning Altman animations. And Hindustan Times also ended up listing me as one of India's top 5 authors to read under short fiction. But it was my passion for artificial intelligence that aided in this journey, because I use digital medium to take my story forward. I use social networking to let people know about my thoughts and my ideas. So even though I was using my natural intelligence to redefine reality the way I saw it, I was taking the help of artificial intelligence to spread it to the rest of the world, to be able to make a difference. Soon after, I was approached by my organization to talk about AI, and then that video was posted and it was shared with 17 million people. My followers started increasing on LinkedIn. I have about 30,000 followers, and I started getting approached to talk about AI, which, by the way, was a subject I was so scared of that when I was about to take that as an elective during engineering, I ran away from it, like literally. Our professor said, you know what, let's learn this together. And all the students ran away because no one wanted to learn something from someone who did not know. But all of us were wrong. Because if you really want to change your lives and take it forward, no matter where you are and where you want to go, you have to understand that you may be very easily able to use artificial intelligence as an assistant that helps you learn, unlearn, and relearn. That helps you grow, that helps you show, and that helps you let the world learn a little bit more, provided you don't think of that as a chore. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence enthusiasts or students who want nothing to do with Studio Ghibli. No matter where you are and what you're doing, you have to understand that your job is going to be safer if you are able to use not just artificial intelligence, but also your natural intelligence to build a partnership that truly helps things go forward. The reality is this, but why can't we reimagine reality? Why can't we make our natural intelligence so strong that we do not blindly copy artificial intelligence, but simply rely on it for a little help, for a little pointers, and for a little fun along the way? So I leave you with a thought. There is going to be AI. There is also going to be hallucinations all around us. Things that you think are real are probably not going to be. You cannot just read things and expect it to be true. And even Wikipedia pages can get things wrong. I know mine does. But will that mean you stop trying, stop thinking, stop trying to make a difference? No. Embrace the two worlds. Build the partnership and see it magically transform the world. And hopefully, you would have found your own genie to take things forward. Thank you so much. All the best.